Hello friends, this is Gail Anderson and I'm on this week going to be talking a little bit about dating, your teens and dating. We've talked about a lot of things with kids, and most recently we've been talking about issues with your teens and your preteens and how to handle all that. But today I want to talk a little bit about dating. If this is the first time that you've joined on, this is Mentoring Moments for Moms. I do save all my scopes on YouTube. There's quite a collection there of all kinds of things that affect moms. So hopefully you will look at that. It is Gail Anderson, or look under Mentoring Moments for Moms on YouTube. Thanks for that heart, I appreciate that. And if anybody wants to share the Periscope, please just swipe to the right and you can share this broadcast with your friends. Now, I'm sure that teen dating is a very controversial subject. So let me just start out by telling you I'm going to share from my experience with my 5 kids. Now, I did homeschool, so I had the advantage of having a lot of time with my kids, as well as limited exposure to kids in a school situation. Now, they were at church, they had friends at youth group, they did all kinds of other things socially. So we encountered plenty of that type of stuff. But whatever you do, you have to start this mindset early, I believe. Begin talking about it early. I mean, we've got kids in 1st and 2nd grade who are already going steady, or this is my boyfriend, this is my girlfriend, or looking special at someone of the opposite sex. And you know what? That is a mite bit too early from my standpoint. Getting to know the opposite sex is great as long as you're in groups and you're just friends. Even as your kids reach teenage age, it's nice to do things in groups, to understand how boys think, to understand how they operate, to learn how to relate to them. That's great. But the catch with dating is that you get into a lot of things that you shouldn't be, and one of those is the physical involvement with dating. So with our kids, we actually studied some books together. I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But our standpoint was you should be at least toward the end of your teenage years, not shopping around with dating, but actually being serious in selecting someone that you wanted to get to know on a more personal basis other than just as friends. So up until that point, we encouraged our kids to talk to the opposite sex, be in groups together, have fun, that's great, but treat that person as a brother or a sister. Boy, that changes your mindset completely. And one of the things that teens fall into is just that physical attractiveness. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. He may be nothing like you. He may be the wrong type of person for you for a ongoing relationship. But man, if he's cute, then you're gonna, go after him, date him, whatever. And it's just kind of a trap, I believe. So we talked to our kids about not going shopping for a mate until you could actually follow through with a commitment. And that would be late teens that you would even start being able to do that. And a commitment, of course, implies, a courtship or an engagement or, serious dating, something like that. But trying things on when you don't have the money to buy is not the way to do things, especially with a marriage partner. If you are just dating and dating one person after another, you are just trying things on for size when you cannot follow through with that commitment. Again, this is my opinion, some of the books that we studied, we definitely adhere to, we believe in, and it worked pretty well with our kids for the most part. They didn't do any serious dating until they were actually ready to get married. And I say for the most part, because there were definitely some isolated situations where they weren't. So when your kids are old enough to actually be interested in someone for the purpose of exploring who they are and what they are for a future relationship, you're always probably going to have some guidelines, like how much time can they spend together? Are they together every minute of every waking day? Are they together every night? Are they spending time alone, which you got to be careful of, or with family or friends? That is a great way to get to know somebody of the opposite sex. If there is going to be a future in this relationship, I also say that we should teach our kids to ask us our advice, to ask friends who they actually trust in their judgment. What do you think of this person? Because actually you might be seeing something in your child's relationship that he's not. You might be seeing something in that person he's dating that he is blinded to. So teach your kids to go to those who they trust, older people, who will be able to say, hey, you know, that person's got this issue, you got to be careful of that. So there have to be appropriate physical boundaries, and that is really, especially for Christians, you want to be able to have that type of thing. And there's lots of books out there that can help you with that. I'm not going to get into anything like that. We also suggested to our kids that they have an accountability partner, a couple who's a little bit further on than them, probably married, who can actually account with them on how they are progressing and getting to know that person, if they're sticking to those guidelines that they and their dating partner set up in the first place. Those are so important. What I did with my kids was we had a discipleship time with them. I had 5 children, and one day of the week was for each one of them. So we had this time of discipleship starting when they were young, and we studied various topics. So naturally, by the time that we got to 12 or 13, we started studying dating a little bit more seriously. Books like Boy Meets Girl, which is a little bit outdated, but still great information. Boundaries in Dating by Henry Cloud. Let's see, New Rules for Love, Sex, and Dating. That's by Andy Stanley. 101 Questions to Ask Before You Get Engaged. These are great books. And that, of course, would be a later one before you get engaged. But you can at least start exploring this with your teenagers. Now, when we get done and I get this posted on my YouTube channel, I will be happy to put in the resources, the links to some of these different books. And if your kids are not there, you still need to be listening to this. You still need to be starting to study it, because you're going to have to formulate what your policy is with your kids. That is so important that you talk as a couple and decide, what do we believe? Get some clarity on how you're going to approach this with your kids so you can be unified on however you do it. Get counsel from people that are further along than you, and read some books so you're armed with information for your teenagers when they get there. So with our teens, the key is for your teenager to build a relationship as friends, especially if this is going to be a partner that you are going to be with for life. The physical things fade. It's the person on the inside that you really want to look at before marriage. So, I mean, here my husband and I are. We've been married for 38 years, I think, this year. Quite a long time. And it's really funny. I just want to go back and tell you how we started. We started as friends. We started by just walking to church together, talking at different church events. We were very good friends. And that was when we were at college. Now, I actually took a semester off and went home. And we've been friends for about 8 months, I think. And my husband did not know that I had taken that semester off. So naturally, he called me, and I wasn't there anymore. That was before the time of cell phones, of course. So I was not there, and he was pretty freaked out because he realized that he was feeling like our friendship was more than just friends, like he wanted to be more. So he called me and said, I'd like to come over on Saturday and take you out. We were about 30 miles from the college. I was at home with my parents. And it was very interesting. I said, well, I'm not doing anything. If you want to come, that's fine. I mean, no big deal. No big deal. Physically, he was not what I would have picked out as a spouse. And he was a great friend. And I really appreciated that. I appreciate his input, his leadership. But I didn't see it as being more than that, so it was no big deal. And the funniest thing is telling that story to my kids, and they just laugh and laugh because, of course, by the time we actually did start dating a few months later, We dated only 3 months before we got engaged, and then 5 months until we got married. So it's lasted this long. It was a good thing. But having that friendship as the basis before we ever got into a dating relationship helped us to just know each other. So that was very cool. The thing that changed for us is times when my family started going through stress. And my husband, well, my friend at that time, was able to, as I call it, put his hands into my messy family and help us and assist and not judge. And it really made an impact on me that he was able to do that. So it's life situations that actually change for us and that I think are great for dating relationships. Not just doing things where you're all primped up, all fixed up, and going on a date and he's taking you to dinner, but those life situations that you're going through together. Come over and clean the car. Hey, want to help me paint my room? You know, life situations, because that's what a marriage is. It's a whole lot more life situations than it is any type of romance. That doesn't happen 24/7 throughout your marriage. So something to keep in mind. Setting up boundaries in all areas of the relationship is really important once you get involved. And that's physical boundaries as well as financial responsibilities. And you know what? As long as you have these boundaries, you can begin to develop intimacy in your relationship, not physical intimacy, but more mental and emotional intimacy. And that is the way to start a relationship. Again, these are just things that I have gathered from my time raising my kids. I do want to mention here that our firstborn, Josh, was dating a gal from out of town. They met and started writing each other, emailing back at that point. And what their emails were like was hilarious. They were emailing each other back and forth, asking questions. Who are you? What is your background? What do you believe? What do you think of this? And it was a great way to feel each other out before they could make a decision if they wanted to pursue getting to know one another. And that was really cool because they could just see, does this overlay with who I am, where I'm going, what my belief system is, and how I grew up. So very cool to see that. Things are changing so much in today's world that you really have to have a handle on this before your kids get to the dating age. And we've got so much today where people are trying out the benefits of marriage without being married. Whether they're living together or just having relations or whatever. They're trying that on to see if it's going to work. And believe you me, if there's no commitment to each other, they're going to walk out the door the minute something better comes. So it's my belief that you don't enjoy those benefits of marriage until you are married, until you are committed to one another, so that you don't have this, okay, this is fine for now, but then I walk out when it's not benefiting me anymore. Marriage is so much about the other person and how much you can give, not how much you can get. And marriage is not a 50-50 type of relationship. It is 100% on each side, both giving what you can to the other. So I hope you'll check out our other videos on YouTube under Mentoring Moments for Moms. Also check out my husband's blog. Tomorrow we will actually be doing a video blog together on mealtime for families. So that'll be out next week. The link to the blog is in Periscope on my profile. Also my email's on there. If there's things you'd like to hear about, questions you have, please write to me. I'd love to hear from you. Hope you're having an awesome week. It's Thursday, almost the end of the week, and it's a beautiful day here. I hope it is for you too. So parenting is always an adventure, and I just want to encourage you to enjoy that adventure, no matter where it takes you. Thank you all for listening. Bye-bye.